Welcome to Flying the Metal Flag. What can I say about this? I mean, it's funny how life worked out. Like 23 years ago, when I started radio, my first interview was with Max Cavalera of Soulfly and Sepultura and Nailbomb fame. And now I got to interview his son, Richie Cavalera. And it was a great thrill to do so. And it was a great interview. And it was fun talking to Richie. And he's going to go to big things, I'm sure of it. This new album, Savage New Times, of his band Incite, is a huge record. He's got a great voice in metal. He's really harnessed his own sound, his own voice, and that's exactly what you want anyone to do in metal, in music, in art, in general. So thank you very much, Richie and the lads. You've delivered a wonderful album. So sit back and relax. This is Richie Cavalera of Incite on Flying the Metal Flag.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, g'day there, Richie. How are you?
Awesome. How we doing? I'm doing great, man. Thanks for taking the time.
No worries. Thank you, mate.
Oh, no worries at all, man. Appreciate it. Love me some Down Under.
Well, welcome to the show. It's called Flying the Metal Flag. And I have to say, congratulations on the album. But first of all, I have to say, my very first interview was actually with your dad, believe it or not.
Oh shit. Yes. I love that.
Yeah, so how's that? It's a crazy world, isn't it? That
It's
time
awesome.
works time works in mysterious ways. So
I,
it's
I love it, man. To be honored to carry on the Cavalera legacy and name is a real privilege, a real honor.
and he's an absolutely great man too. So um, a lot of
Definitely a
people
good dude.
a lot of people called it my baptism of fire. That interview.
I love
He
that, man.
Yeah, and he was wonderful. So yeah, so it was great.
Yes, he's one of the best, man. Great attitude always.
Oh yes, for sure. And he's done absolute wonders for metal, hasn't he?
Without question. There's so many of us that would probably have never done this without him being as influential as he is. That's for sure.
So well, I want to say congratulations on this new album, mate. It's absolutely huge. And
Thank you, man. Hopefully it gets huge down there so we can get down there finally.
oh yeah, I've got to tell you, mate, you are growing with every album, my friend.
Thank you, man. It definitely feels like this is definitely part of that natural progression from Wake Up Dead to this album. I think when people listen or know our catalog, it definitely is right where we want to be with what our music is creating and presenting to the world.
So well, I guess I've got to ask you, has it been hard in finding your own identity as well in terms of with I know nepotism is a really it's a bad word and I don't want to use it, of
No.
course. In terms of finding your identity.
You know, I think I had my own identity. I think it's the media and press, most of them that create that narrative more than I ever have. You don't go buy an Incite record and it'd be like featuring Richie Cavalera on the very front, or you don't see us throwing out show flyers that say Incite with Richie Cavalera. That's never us doing. I think the band, when we started it, I was really the only son of a metal person in probably the world at the time when I started Incite. So it was quite and nobody really knew what to do. Our record label, do you have a different last name? Do we, you know, promote it? Do we do all these things? And, I just knew the band could be great. And I knew that if I just was me, did did my vibe, worked hard, metalheads would accept it. It may have taken 15, 20 years for them really to break through and accept it and be cool with it, because Now I think you see, kids like, Corey Taylor's son, or um, Chet Headfield, or, there's a lot of kids now, and they're getting an easier ride than I ever had. And I didn't want an easy ride. I love music. I love the grind. I love the grit. I love going from nothing and hopefully creating something that a lot of people relate to and can be helped by. I didn't join a band because it was cool or that's what my dad did or anything. I did it because, I'm a person. I love to help people. I'm a very empathetic and caring individual, and music seemed like a great place to reach a lot of people and present that to them. So I, I felt like we found our way. I had to deal with a lot of musicians that thought because I was Max's son, they were going to have an easy ride and things would be easy, and tour buses and crew, and none of that stuff was there. We're still in a van, and we don't have a crew, and we don't do any of that. We're still just a hands-on, do-it-yourself kind of band. And I think people, metalheads out there, have seen that and respected that, and now we're we're giving them the music that coincides with that, and they're looking back at our old stuff now and being like, damn, like how have we kind of slept on this band for so long and not really given them the respect. But you see that changing with a band like Hatebreed taking us on tour, and a lot of the reviews that are coming out, they're not instantly jumping on the Cavalera name. They're actually saying this music is awesome and then proceeding to that. So it's evolved. It's not gotten easier, but I'm at a state now where I'm just honored to carry on the legacy of being a Cavalera and what Cavalera is in heavy metal, and that's influential, helpful, ground up, gritty. Always for the metalheads. We don't do this for ourselves; it's for them more than anything.
Oh, well, the music does speak for itself. There's no doubt about that. I think from
Yeah,
day one, my friend, from day
I
one,
agree. I
without a
agree.
doubt.
It took people just time to catch on to that and see that and give it the respect or give it the chance.
Because also, I think what you've got is probably the greatest education of all time. Because it's not
Uh,
just your dad, it's also your mum as well. Because you've got the whole business side of things as well, haven't you?
yeah, she's actually, I think, the most integral, integrated part of our family. I mean, without her, Max probably would have never become anything. He would have just been a crusty drunk that failed and could have been big, and so many other bands along the way, Sacred Reich and Jason Newsted probably wouldn't even have made Metallica had it not been for Gloria. What she has created and continued to create is just love for metal, expanding it, bringing it to people that don't get it all the time, to other countries that don't get it. And, I think she's taken a lot of shit from the Sepultura people and all that bullshit. But at the end of the day, she is truly one of the most important pieces of 80s, 90s metal that, is why we have a lot of it now. And so many of her ideas are what bands are doing these days. They're touring, they're revisiting all these records, they're doing all this stuff, and that's her and Max, and mostly really her. And having that side of the view was more important to me than Max and what he does, because music is everybody's own taste, and I had my own vision of the music I wanted to play. Obviously Sepultura is one of those bands that doesn't matter what kind of style of heavy music you play, it's influenced in there. It doesn't matter who you are, and obviously we have some of that influence, but mostly it's a wide variety of different metals that we blend that other bands just aren't able to do like we are.
Well, I agree with you. Your mum's an unsung hero in metal, and she should
Oh
be
yeah,
praised. She should be praised a lot more.
I agree with that, man. It's definitely what she's given her whole life to the music and to metal, and it's definitely deserved a lot more praise.
Oh, for sure. Now, I want to ask you about your front cover because I reckon front covers are just as good. It's the whole package for me. You have an
Yeah,
awesome front cover for this new album, without a doubt, and it kind of reminds me of Pinhead in a way, the front cover.
that's the first thing we felt. We we used Marcelo Vasco, and he's been just a really big player in the last decade with bands like Slayer and Kerry King and Deicide and Soulfly and all these. And the record label approached us about using him, and this is the first thing he sent us after listening and reading lyrics and stuff, and we were all just floored. I think a huge part of this band has always been the artwork from artists like Dan Seagrave doing two covers for us, and he's an absolute legend. And then Andre Buzikov, who did Built to Destroy, and Brian Zellner, and all these people. We take our art almost as serious as the music itself. And when we were able to see this, and like you said, it reminded us of Pinhead and this kind of savage time that Hellraiser and those movies created. That this cover kind of just gave that aura, that feel, and really feels like a big time record cover, to us. And it's definitely an honor to have that carrying this music as well.
Are you a big horror fan yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up, my parents were really into that. We'd have movie nights on the weekends, and we'd all watch like Freddy and Jason and Hellraisers and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a big influence in my early days growing up.
So what about some of the topics? Because with your music as well, that influences your music.
Yeah, I think a lot of the newer stuff, mainly always it's always been personal experiences or anger, or I'm not a very vocal expressive person in like real life to like family or friends. I'm really bottled up, and I've always found my way to release is through writing these lyrics and writing these songs that um I feel is like the safest therapy, the safest release for those kind of feelings. I think we all go through. You go through depression and desperation and financial problems and breakups and love and heartbreak and family fighting and just all this stuff. I mean, we're just a regular family like so many, and we experience all these and an unbelievable amount of pain and stuff. And I think writing has always been that way, and this album was after an extremely difficult time. I think probably some of the toughest years I ever went through were in the process of like before this album was written. So it allowed me to really unleash. I think I've always kind of held back a little bit, and this one I fully was just like uh balls to the wall, leave everything out there. And I think that's why you got such a more aggressive, directed type of rage on this album, but also positive things for people to think about, like Used and Abused, or No Mercy, No Forgiveness, and songs that I think reflect more positivity than we've ever really had in our past albums.
Yeah, because one thing that you've done is you've chosen the right singles for the album to really promote it as well. I think
Yeah.
is that must be the difficult thing about when you put together an album to pick those right songs. I mean, you could pick any song really from this record because they're all good. So, but
Yeah, that's
just
what was cool. We had that many options, and the record label came forward and they're like, we want to do five singles. And it was like, whoa, because normally you do maybe two or three. And they had this really cool, extensive new way of releasing an album and marketing it and all this stuff. So that was great. And yeah, now you have five other songs that you've never heard that are going to totally blow you away just as much as these singles did. So I'm happy that you um, are experiencing that same feeling that we had.
yeah, because Just a Rat and No Mercy and No Forgiveness, they're awesome songs, man. You've done a great job with all this album and even Lies that opens the album, man. Yeah, it's a huge
It,
album and
it's
you've
really fun.
and
It's a
yeah
fun
and
record.
yeah, because I don't know whether you call it a genre itself, like groove thrash. I don't know whether you call that a genre
No.
itself, but I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, you're giving the music a really good kick in the ass, mate. Because It's a really
I
good
love it.
album, man. I really love it, man.
I love that, man. I feel that same way. This has been the most favorite one I've ever done. I love them all, but this just has something. We locked it in, bringing in Lane on guitar. It was like just that final piece, to like everybody on the same page. Everybody's excited. There's no stress about writing the music this time. It was like always these fucking headaches, and we managed to still eke out some good records, but this is like us just putting it all together. We call ourselves heavy metal, and I think that allows us to take from every kind of part of heavy music, which is grindcore, black metal, death metal, new metal, whatever it may be. We feel like we can take pieces and parts and influences that we just have through all of that and create what's Incite. And I think that's what's so fun and like fresh feeling about it and different and organic, and it makes you want to re-listen to it over and over and over, and that's a great record in my eyes.
Oh, for sure. Anything that you can put on repeat,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
classic, man. That's a classic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So have you got any touring up at the moment?
Yeah, we just got off tour with Hate Breed. We did all over the U.S. and
Oh, wow.
that was it was unbelievable. It's one of the biggest tours we've ever done, and such an honor to be out with a band like Hate Breed and for them to every night come up and just tell us how good the show was, and being very just humble and nice was like such a cool thing for us to experience, to see a big band like them be that way. And next about 4 weeks from now, we have a tour with 6 Feet Under starting, which Chris Barnes, legend, cool dude.
Wow.
He's always been like a really like big supporter of the band, and for him to take us now on a US tour is just like crazy. It's like 6 weeks long and just a rager. And then after that, we're like I said, we're really hoping to get down to Australia. It's been 10, 15 years, I think, since Insights toured Australia, and it was only one time. So, I'm trying to understand, whose leg I got to hump down there to get down there to tour, because all day, every day, we have people from Australia and New Zealand and everywhere contacting us, hoping for tours and shows. And when are you going to come here? And it's just not in my hands, because if I could do it, I would have already done it 10 times over.
Oh, fantastic. Because you're always
So
welcome here, of course. So,
yeah, man, I'm like I'm saying, hopefully the big festivals or somebody can make it happen. But to see um you know like you and other press that's starting to hit us up from down there, that's a good sign that something may be brewing.
oh, I'm sure it will be very, very soon, much, much, much more than later, I think, because this album is
Yeah.
huge, man. I can't give it enough raps.
I just appreciate that. And, it coming out this week, that's exciting, because there's a lot of nerves going, a lot of excitement. It's a cool moment to get ready for everybody to hear this music that we've been loving for so long already.
Yeah, especially now. It's album number 6, isn't it?
Yeah, seventh album, sixth full length, and yeah, it's crazy to think that it's been that many. I'm just honored that we're getting better with each album, not worse. I think some bands, kind of blow their load on album one and two, and then they're kind of chasing that forever. And we didn't do that. We're always making a better record than the last and growing more and just really harnessing what we want to be. And I think that's what we're showing from like Wake Up Dead to Savage New Times. I think you're seeing a real visual of what this band is doing now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, from day one, you were brilliant, and you're just getting better with every release. That's just a
Thank
sign
you.
of a band that's going to have a legacy, my friend.
Yeah, that's what we want. I think bands like Lamb of God and all them. It's time for the next kind of flag carrier to come up and give some of those big dogs a break, and let them take a little more family time, and let us come out and carry the flag to the next 10 years.
Well, I think you're definitely going to do that, mate. So I think it's time for the last question, and I asked it for the very first time to Max. And now it's your turn. So what's the best thing
Yes.
about metal?
Mine is, the authenticity of it. I love how real to me real metal is. It's just um it's for a bad day, it's for a good day, it's for driving fast. It's the safest, most effective therapist you'll ever meet in your life. It's nothing like going to a metal concert and letting that rage out or emotions and just screaming and walking out of the place and just feeling like fresh, like you're ready to handle more shit. And I think metal is that thing. It's just there for you when you need it through hard times or good times or anything. And it's very authentic, always, like most people look for, in life.
It is the most awesome brand of music without a doubt, isn't it?
I agree, good sir. Definitely. It's perfect.
And we're so glad that you play it and you play it well.
Ah, thank you so much. Really, that means a lot. You and all the flying the metal flag metalheads out there. It's a real honor for us again to just be talking about this record with you, and getting word out around the cities down there, man. We need to come down there and rage it up, eat some meat pies, and smoke your guys' good weed.
No worries. Thank you very much for your time, Richie. So I wish you and the band the very much best on this album and the
Thank you,
tours. So the
thank
album
you,
is Savage New Times and it is out this Saturday, the 15th of August. So thanks again for
yes,
your time, my friend. And
thank you, brother. Have a great day too, man. A good week and a good year and everything in between. All right,
oh, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
You too, my friend. Thank you very much.
All
And
right.
hopefully we see you soon.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Later,
No
brother.
worries, man. Thanks you. Thank you very much.
Anytime, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this interview here on Flying the Metal Flag. I really hope you enjoyed it, and so does Ben. So we would greatly appreciate it if you click the like button, or even better, subscribe to this channel, because there's so many interviews that are coming soon. So please stick around for them and even more, and even the ones that are here already. So please take care and keep it excessive, but most of all, let your metal flag fly high.